T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Hello.
Four, three, two, one.
Hello and welcome back to yet another Flyer live stream. A week comes around really quickly. What have we got for you tonight? Well, we have got Simon Keeling's quiz, Simon Keeling's weather. We've got a whole bunch of news. We've got a new issue. We've got some news from the CEA's Brexit seminar. We got news of some interesting looking electric stuff, some bonkers looking electric stuff. We got some fantasy hangar. We got a quiz. We got a video. We got tons and tons and tons of stuff. So before we move on to that, let's move on to that. I've got nothing else to say. That's it. Hello everybody. How you all doing?
We're all good, but
Hello,
I've got a bit of a question. I didn't see a memo saying that we had to dress up, and apparently you're a penguin.
I'm not dressed up. This is what I wear every day now I'm working from home. Don't you know? Hey, basically, tonight's Thursday, and on Saturday it's the Aviators Ball. So I'm kind of trying on my DJ to make sure it fits for the Aviators Ball. So this week we're all going to watch. Well, I say we're all. The Aviators Ball will be live streamed on YouTube for everyone who wants to participate from 6 o'clock. So I should be sitting there in my dining table watching the stream of the Aviators Ball in my DJ with my bottle of champagne, my shorts and flip-flops on underneath the table. So I thought I'd just kind of get into the habit, as it were. So there you go.
Blimey, I'm almost tempted to say that if anyone bids £100, then we'll send you a moustache and get you to sing Go Compare.
I'll tell you what, Go Compare was sold. The website was sold this week to Future, where I used to work, and where the Flyer was owned by for 1 month. And Future bought it for 459 million quid. If anyone wants to pay me 459 million quid, I'll maybe just 459 quid. I'll sing. Anyway, enough of all that. Mr. Keeling, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. And I thought that was what Daniel Craig looked like with no makeup.
Cruel.
Yeah, all very well here, thank you. Right, okay, so I guess we get on to the quiz. It's quiz time this week, and I thought that this week we'd go with this one. So you've got until the end of the forecast to come up with the right answers. What visibility defines fog? So when you see it in a METAR or on a TAF, what visibility defines fog? Is it less than 1,000 meters, less than 500 meters, or less than 200 meters? Get your answers in the comments box, and I guess you've got about a minute and a half to do that. Right, on with the weekend forecast, and I've got as well a first sneaky peek at the chart for Wednesday, where most of us are coming out of lockdown, or are we out of lockdown or not? I don't know, I'm just confused now. But anyway, we've got a chart for Wednesday for you in a moment as well, and the first forecast for then too. So this is for Saturday. If you're lucky enough to be able to get flying, actually I don't think there's going to be that much of it around. You see that warm front across Wales and the Midlands and southwest England. Lots of moisture associated with that, low cloud, mist and murk, so pretty low cloud across many western parts of the Midlands, Wales and southwest England. Probably bits of mist and murk as well affecting eastern coasts of England. I think East Anglia in the southeast should fare a little bit better. Bases there lifting to about 2,000 or 3,000 feet. Scotland as well, not faring too badly in Scotland. There we got bases about 3,000 feet and better visibility too, and pretty fair conditions for northern and western parts of Ireland. For Sunday, This one doesn't really tell the whole story. Can you see that little area of cloud of rain that's through Northern Ireland heading into southwest Scotland? That's going to extend a little bit further east into Northern England as well. So I think for much of Northern England, for Northern Ireland, southwest Scotland on Sunday, looks pretty misty and murky. Poor visibility, I think, generally non-VFR. England and Wales, early morning mist and fog, but that will clear. And it looks as if actually Sunday afternoon is not going to be too bad. Bases of around 4,000 feet. This probably around 5 to 7 kilometres, so not bad at all. And then across Scotland, actually not bad either. Some fair conditions, particularly central and eastern areas, just bits of rain around the north and the west. So really, given it's late November weekend, that's not that bad, apart from that mist and fog that's hanging around on Saturday. And this is Wednesday. As I say, are we out of lockdown? Are we out of lockdown? Well, whatever area you're in, this is what it look like. Actually, for much of England and Wales, ridge of high pressure is in, some drier air coming in off the continent. Again, I can't rule out mist and fog patches in the morning, but actually it looks a decent one for the late morning into the afternoon. Much of England, Wales and southern Scotland, and western Scotland, western parts of Ireland, that's where we'll see some rain. But keep your fingers crossed for that one for Wednesday. Unfortunately, Thursday, Friday does go downhill a little bit. So if you can get out there on Wednesday, I'd be thinking about Wednesday afternoon. But of course, I'll keep you updated with the update in the fly forecast on Monday. Just a quick heads up as well. Still got a couple of places left on Weather School, which starts Sunday the 6th of December and on Sunday morning the 13th of December. So go to weatherschool.co.uk to have a look. All the information about the course is at the website. Right, who got the quiz right then? What visibility defines fog? Less than 1,000 metres, 500 metres or 200 metres? How were they doing on that?
Well, most people went for answer A. A few went for C, but mostly answer A. 1B.
Oh,
well, their misery, Simon.
Okay, it is actually A. It's less than 1,000 metres. But interestingly, when you hear radio forecasts or when you're watching it on the TV and it's general public forecasts, the definition of fog is less than 200 metres. So they won't always mention it if there's going to be fog. I mean, not that many of us are going to be flying in visibilities between 300 metres and 1,000 metres anyway. But the definition of fog publicly is different to what we think of as aviators. But the answer was less than 1,000 metres. And interestingly, you know, for mist, there is no upper limit in the visibility. So it can be anything.
So best weather forecast question that we got was from Paul Sengupta, who says, Simon, are we getting any tropospheric ducting with this high pressure?
Oh, good question. There probably will be a little bit, actually. So shortwave radio should be pretty good, I think, over the next couple of days. So yeah, Paul, there will be a little bit of ducting around. Sounds painful, doesn't it?
On behalf of all of the pedants out there, of which I am occasionally one, can I just point out that if you answered answer A, then you were completely right, whatever the correct answer was ever going to be, because it would be less than 1,000 meters, even if the answer was 200 meters.
There's always one, isn't there? Yeah, okay. Well done, Ian.
I'm just taking one for the pedants team there.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
There's always one, and he dresses better than everyone else.
Excuse me, I'd like to point out.
Yeah. Now let's get him off the party list.
Thank you very much, Simon.
Okay, guys, good to see you. Have a good ex-lockdown if we get there.
Yeah,
let's hope.
Absolutely.
See you.
Great, excellent. Moving on, what's next? News. Dave, hit us with the news.
The big news this week is there's a new issue of Flyer out this week. So Ed, tell us about it.
What? Who did something with a new issue? It's true. The January issue of Flyer came out yesterday. So check that out for a feature on the oddly named Northern Norseman. Looks a bit like beaver or an otter, but it's a whole lot rarer. It's a really lovely feature on a beautifully restored aeroplane, pretty rare now. An unusual survivor, a utility category aeroplane. They tend to suffer high attrition. So read that if you're interested in that kind of stuff. There's a great feature by Rachel Ramsey, who went to visit the guys at Historic Helicopters, where they operate the world's oldest helicopter, which is a Westland Whirlwind, and a whole bunch of other things, including they're restoring a Lynx. They've got a few Sea Kings, Whirlwind, I've mentioned that, and a Wessex. So that's worth a read. There's a great flying adventure, which Leonardo Correaluna takes his Cessna 170 and flies a whole chunk of Route 66 in the States. And we've had 2 or 3 people. I've had people emailing me saying, I'm going to do that trip next year if I can. So that's really cool. There's a Top Gear review of the new Garmin watch from Ian, plus all the columns and news.
Excellent.
Yeah.
What's next in news then, Dave?
Well, next in news is about the Brexit seminar that the CAA held today, which you took part in, Ian.
Well, I sat through it. I didn't contribute to it, and I made a few scribble notes. The most important thing is there's going to be another one tomorrow, so some people will be able to sit on the one tomorrow. B, this one was recorded, so if you missed it, you can go and it will be uploaded to the CAA microsite on Brexit, so you can sit through the hour like I did. I did take a few notes, so and clearly it was an hour's worth, so these are not exhaustive notes for various bits and pieces of interest. So anything that is in EASA law and in place before the end of December will get copied over and will become UK law from the 1st of January. But things like the BIR, the Basic Instrument Rating, which is not yet valid or not yet in whatever the word is in EASA land, we will decide whether we want to do that or not. And one of the points the CA made was, if you want that kind of thing, jump on the consultation, tell us what you want, and we'll prioritize what we try and bring in. In other news, if you've got an MPPL or a LAPL, then currently or you fly on a LAPL medical, then currently they're going to be good for the UK, but from January onwards they won't be good for Europe, because they're sub-ICAO licenses, and we'll be a third country having issued sub-ICAO licenses. We are currently not participating in any EASA working groups. I don't think we have been for a while. And there's a question about whether we're going to remain aligned with EASA or not, because there's a bunch of stuff coming down the road from EASA. The CA said that if there's some stuff coming down the road that alleviates things for people, then they would like to adopt it. And if it doesn't, they would probably not adopt it. I think we just got to suck it and see what happens there. NREG. What happens if you fly NREG? There is no current change for NREG. So if you're flying NREG on an FAA license in the UK, no change there. And obviously, as the US and everyone else's signatures to the ICAO Convention of 1944, you'll still be able to fly all over Europe with that. How do you get aircraft repaired overseas after January? Well, EASA engineering licenses are good for a couple of years in Europe. So if you need any work done for the next couple of years, you'll be fine getting it done in Europe. If you need any work done after a couple of years, who knows? But hopefully by then they would have negotiated something. There was a big thing about negotiations being kind of wrapped up in the whole big negotiation. So there was a chap whose name I can't remember, who was a lawyer. So does that mean you trust them or not? Or does it mean it's an American lawyer talking about elections? I don't know. Anyway, basically said that you kind of need to get all the fisheries and level playing field stuff sorted before they get to aviation. Permit aircraft. There was a bit of confusion on this and whether you could fly overseas, and there was a whole bunch of people who jumped on that. Oh my God, we won't be able to fly overseas and permit aircraft. And I'm not quite sure where that confusion came from. It may have been.
Think it was a bit of a slightly bungled or misread answer, wasn't it? Because Steve Slater was very quick to get the facts checked out, and he confirmed by the end of the afternoon that actually permit aeroplanes, you'll still be able to fly overseas. You just you will need permission, was it? Or
no, it's basically as you were, no change. There was some minor thing, isn't there, in one of the letters of agreement? It refers to EU, states, and Switzerland. So we need to get the UK added in there, which is, I believe, within our gift to do. Just I suspect there's a lot to do. Interestingly, so someone asked the question: if there's new aircraft or a new STC or something like that, what will happen? And the reply was that the CA will probably need to validate it, and they'll try and come up with a validation that is the lightest way possible. It would be really sensible, wouldn't it, to go, you know what? I mean, I think it'd be really sensible to say, well, if it's approved by the FAA or if it's approved by EASA, we're good with that. Ka-ching, stamp.
That would be in line with making the UK the best place for GA, wouldn't it?
It would, but I'm sure there's some airworthiness engineers who are penning their hate mail to me as they speak. Did you know that someone in Switzerland once got it wrong, or something like that? So who knows? But it looks like we're going to reinvent the wheel. Although at the moment the ambition is to just reinvent one that's more or less round without too much difficulty. And that's kind of the last thing was if you fly an aircraft that's on an EASA permit to fly, that will just become a UK permit to fly. The same maintenance requirements and same operational limitations will remain with that. It will just be a different name. So that's kind of what I got for it. That's a speed read through from me. So back to you, Dave.
Right, carry on with the news. There's an AD come out of the FAA in the States regarding Piper PA-28s and some PA-32s. It's the early models with what's called the Hershey bar wing. And this is not the wing spar thing that's been knocking around for a while. This is corrosion and the fact that it's difficult to see certain places. This comes in from the 28th of December this year. So bit of corrosion inspection going on there. Moving on, there's the LAA, the Light Aircraft Association, is going to hold a tour of GB next May. Sounds quite good, actually. It's a 10-day tour, celebration of the LAA's 75th anniversary, although not all 75 years they've been called the LAA. And this is an LAA aircraft flying over a bit of Cornwall called Foy. Anyway, so there's a bit about that on the website, and there's more in the LAA's magazine next month.
Coming up.
Moving on, there's Luton Airport.
Anyone know how Luton's doing?
You just couldn't resist, Ian, could you?
We couldn't resist.
I couldn't.
Luton Airport is doing very well. I think it's they're having a webinar later this in a couple of days' time to talk about some airspace changes, which actually don't look like they impact on GA too badly. In fact, they're probably quite good for us. Anyway, so you can read about it on the website. There's a bilateral agreement between the EU, the European Union, and the USA, and they've expanded the agreement. It deals with pilot licenses and flight simulators, oddly. So this is really about more to do with professional flying than light aircraft.
A couple of comments before you go on those. For what it's worth, Luton Airport. I'm not sure what their webinar. I haven't been to Luton Airport for a couple of years. The last time I went there, it was such a grim experience. I vowed that I was never ever going to fly from Luton Airport again. What a dump that was.
I was with you that day. You were not having a good day.
It was not a good day. And the BASA, Bilateral Aviation Safety Agreement thing. I mean, I'm not, to be honest, I haven't read the bit about Sims, but a bunch of people like me, FAA IR holders, have been wondering, what was going to happen and how. And we've all been looking forward to some really good news. And it's taken them, I don't know how long, at least 6 years to between the US and Europe to negotiate this. And it's kind of like just no change at all, almost. It's ridiculous. They've spent a whole bunch of time doing not a great deal, as far as I can figure out. And of course, as of January, we've got to do our own BASA anyway, so it doesn't really apply to us. There you go.
Right.
Sorry, over to you.
Okay, right. So next item is about two owners, low mileage, never used by builders. This is Mahindra putting up the Airvan for sale. So Mahindra is an Indian conglomerate, manufacturing giant. They bought Gips Aero some years ago, 11 years ago, and they've been persevering with it, manufacturing it. They've also developed the GA8, GA10, which is a turboprop version of this. But unfortunately, they've not made any money. They spent a bunch on it, and now they say they're not going to make any more. What they have done is put it up for sale. And Gips Aero, the Australian original company, is turning itself into a support and spares company. They're not going to manufacture them anymore, which is a bit of a shame because it's a very nice aircraft, the Airvan.
Surely you mean functionally, because it's design-wise, it was what was it? Set, square, and a ruler, and nothing else.
Nobody could draw any curves, could they?
No. It's like
but if you've ever rented a transit van for a weekend, for instance, it's great fun looning around in those at full speed, isn't it?
Well, at least
So fair.
at least that air van was the right colour. It was white.
White.
What have
Yes.
done now?
Let's move on very quickly before we dig a bit cold for ourselves.
Andy Kennedy in the comments has got a better one than my set square. He said air van designed with an etch a sketch.
I think so.
Yes. Embraer, big Brazilian company making airliners and business jets. Strangely, they also make a crop sprayer, and this is it. They've just made one. They're making one with electric power. They're working with the equivalent of Wessex Electricity, which is a local electricity company, to do this, and it actually makes a bit of sense. The crop sprayer has got huge amounts of power. It can carry huge loads such as batteries. So it's a single seater, so only one person is at risk, and so it's not a bad prototype. So next item is a French company with an old name, Mauboussin. You're probably better at pronouncing that than me, Ian.
Malboussin.
Mauboussin, right?
Malboussin.
Mauboussin. Okay, well, it's an old aviation name in France. In the 1930s, some chap called Pierre Mauboussin made aircraft, but nothing to do with them anymore. A new guy has produced these. They're aircraft with hydrogen hybrid power, but with very strange propellers and undercarriage.
Oh my word!
Yes.
Yeah.
I quite like the look of that. It's almost Thunderbird-esque.
Yeah. It'd be interesting if they had power failure to one set of the motors, though, wouldn't it?
But that's the beauty of electric, isn't it? Is that it's very hard to get a failure.
Yes, that's very true.
But it'll still happen.
I'm more concerned about the two-seater where they put the undercarriage, because that looks an awfully long way back. That's going to require a massive, great tug on the stick to get that to rotate, surely.
Yeah.
Probably just levitate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we need to move on very quickly because we're running out of time.
No.
Air Race E. These are the people trying to do an electric air race series, and they've invited bids for host cities to put it on. So that's it really. If you know somewhere wants to put it on, they want people to do that.
Luton Airport.
Luton Airport. Actually, this leads very nicely into the next item, which is about Plymouth Airport. Plymouth Airport, which is closed at the moment, obviously. You remember the campaign a couple of years ago to free the Jodelle. They've got a new challenge, which is that they're building a bridge nearby, and the council have said to the people building the bridge, Balfour Beatty, they can park bits of the bridge on the runway while they're building it. Now, this has got the locals up in arms because they were hoping that Plymouth Airport might reopen next year. They're still working through that. But if you think about it, Plymouth is an ideal place to host an air race. You could host it over Plymouth Sound, over the water.
Yeah.
Everyone can watch from up on the top there, the Hoe, as it's called, where Francis Drake played bowls before going off to defeat the Spanish. And you could use Plymouth Airport as the staging airport. That's my idea anyway. That's the end of the news.
We've got an apology to make. Peter Marsden, he says, I'm the owner of an air van. So Peter, who bought the only air van ever sold, he said, I resent those remarks. It's designed to do a job. I think they are great. Peter, we're sorry we've wronged the air van.
Yeah, well, no, actually, I've flown an air van, and I flew with the guys out of Hinton on the Hedges. We took off with 8 skydivers in the back and got up to some, 10,000 feet or whatever. And one by one, they jumped out the back. And the guys...
They do that. They're skydivers, Dave.
The skydivers. I know. But when you think about it, 8 people weighing around about 120 kilos each with all their stuff on board. That's more than half a ton of change in the load in about 30 seconds. And I was whizzing on along with the trim wheel trying to keep up with this. But it copes. It's a great airplane. Does its job.
There you go.
That's the end of the news. Next item.
What have we got next? Oh, we've got a quick, very, very quick quiz.
Oh my God.
Following the really easy one last week, which Keir got, and the one before that, which everybody got, which is higher or lower. How about this? So I'm looking for what connects all of these 4 things, and what are they called, if anyone knows them? And preferably, what's the link to Flyer?
I think those are all Bristol products.
Yep. That's very good.
But I don't know what the link to Flyer is.
I'll come back to the link to Flyer. So, what have we got there in terms of Bristol products? We've got the one on the top left is the badminton from 1926.
Right.
The one top right is called the Bristol Bloodhound from 1923.
Yeah. Bottom right is the Brabazon.
Bottom right is the Brabazon, and the one on the left is a car. That's also Bristol. And the link to Flyer is the guy who kept the car business going for years, a guy called Tony Crook, who he is the person who has come closest to suing Flyer in its 26-year existence. We published a picture of an airplane of his at White Waltham, and he took offence about something, and he's dead now. And I think in the 26 years I've owned Flyer, I don't think I have dealt with anybody more aggressive and unpleasant than Tony Crook. And
right,
I don't have to deal with him anymore. There you go.
Yes.
Okay.
There you go. What's next?
Right.
What's next?
It must be time for Fantasy Hangar. So Fantasy Hangar, we decided that we would look back through our choices, so the winning choices, and decide on the aeroplane that we would fly post-lockdown. Because hopefully things are going to open up and we'll all be able to take to the skies again. So the challenge was set earlier today. It's like, what would we pick? So the things we have in our choices, what would we pick? So I think Dave might be going first.
Are you going to go first, Dave?
If I have to, yeah.
I don't mind going first if you like.
Okay, go first.
The airplane I picked was basically Dave's Bonanza. I think Dave won with the Bonanza early on, and because it's a fantastic touring airplane, and really one of the things I really miss about not flying, and particularly about not traveling, is the touring. So I'd jump into the Bonanza and I'd head to this place. Anyone know where that is? Clearly, it's in
Can Mandaloo.
Wow, look at that, fantastic! And there's the airport. And the reason I fly there is basically because it's one of those places where you fly from the UK. You can normally do it in one hit, certainly in a Bonanza or something like that. And you get there, and it just shows you that magic carpet experience of leaving somewhere slightly grey and overcast, like you're flying in a Tupperware box. And then by the time you get to Cannes, you open the doors and you feel this kind of rush of Mediterranean heat and some Mediterranean herbs coming up from, or maybe sorry, whatever it happens to be. Anyway, it's just one of those fantastic achievements where you get somewhere so different in a kind of magic carpet. So there you go. If I could, next Thursday I'd head off to Cannes, but I can't. So
yeah.
Anyway, Dave.
Oh, right, me. So my choice is I picked the Sea Ray, which everyone laughed at when I chose it as my favourite float plane, seaplane. And I'm going to fly to Foy, to Cornwall. I was so impressed by this picture, which is an Ed Hicks picture, by the way.
It's from a few years ago, and it was a very lucky shot. We were doing this for the LAA, and it just so happened that the Foy Regatta was on at the time, so which makes it look great.
Yeah. So I would take the Sea Ray and I would touch down. I'm not sure they'd let me moor up, but they might let me do a touch and go somewhere in the harbour there. So that's my little fantasy trip after lockdown.
Ed,
I think that's really nice.
Yeah.
I'm a bimbler. I'm always a bimbler at heart. So I think I'd go back to the first thing that we picked for Fancy Hangar was a bimbling aeroplane, and the Cub was a clear winner that time. And I think if I was, I think for my return to flying, if I really had a choice, it would be a Cub. And if it's warm enough on what's probably going to be a cold day, it's going to be fly around 1,000 feet, door open, and not go anywhere in particular. Just be glad to be in the air. So
that's a pretty, yeah. No, I can sympathise with all of those. Actually, not sympathise. I could cope with all of those. That'd be great. Okay, and any sort of people in the comments voting?
Paul Sengupta says he will pick a bulldog. I can see why that will happen.
Yeah.
Eugene Byrne says Rutan Defiant. He said, I wish I owned one. I think there used to be one in the UK, but it's quite a rare beast.
Okay, fair enough. Well, funnily enough, it's already nearly 8 o'clock.
Unbelievable. We must have. Is there time for the scary video?
There is time for the scary video. I don't know if anyone's seen this, but if you haven't seen this, we've shortened it a bit. Take a quick look at this.
Down the middle of the sea, just fly you as much stuff as we can. I will change it to
That's. I have to say, if you've not seen that, it's worth looking at on the internet because in real time watching it is mildly terrifying.
Yeah,
and they did walk away from it, and apparently the glider was unscathed, even though you see the G meter go up to at least plus 8G. So
not much fun at all.
Yeah.
Before we go on, I've got one quick thing I need to say before I forget. I don't know if Carol is with us tonight. Carol Atkins is normally one of our regular viewers on here.
I haven't seen her.
But we haven't seen her, so she may be out celebrating. And if you see Carol, remember to wish her happy birthday. So happy birthday, Carol, for yesterday, if you happen to be watching this tomorrow on catch-up, as it were. So anyway, there you go.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yes, Paulson Gupta queries the fact that the RV3 is staying in the hangar on Wednesday. It's actually, Paul, it'll be the aeroplane I get out to go flying because I don't have a cub yet.
No.
Yes.
No.
Right.
What's next then?
If you want to talk about any events, unfortunately, Compton Abbas has cancelled its Vintage Saturday. It's also cancelled its Christmas fly-in. But they have issued a whole list of events for 2021, so that's quite good. A couple of New Year's Day fly-ins if you want to start planning. Popham and Bodmin both having New Year's Day fly-ins. So a bit of activity.
Yeah.
In the short term, don't forget Aviator's Ball. Saturday night.
Not only can you go onto Airability's site and find the link for the YouTube. In fact, we might run a story about it if we haven't done it already on the web tomorrow. So you can go onto flyer.co.uk and that will give you the link to the YouTube place. So you can join the YouTube thing. I think it's from 6 o'clock. There's a silent auction with tons and tons of amazing prizes. There's kind of rubbish prizes like flying in a Spitfire and all that kind of stuff. But the real absolute best prize that you can bid on is a year's membership of the Flyer Club plus a guest appearance on this very show. And you don't have to dress up like this. So you can bid for that and then you can come and join us on the live stream. It's just, and then you too can experience the live stream. So, I mean, who wouldn't want to do that, frankly?
We'll be doing well if that raises more than £12.50, I reckon.
Well, and you know what? Because it's a charity, if there's someone out there who wants to do it to a commercial advantage, we'll let them come along and give us a plug for their company as well, as long as you kind of like you.
Like me.
Yeah, just a small plug.
A small plug. 3 pin, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Well, I think that's about it. We come to the end yet again. Thank you very, very much for watching. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, everyone. Don't forget, if you're not a member of the Flyer Club, sign up now and enjoy the Aviators Ball on Saturday. And we'll see you next Thursday. I think that's about it, isn't it, chaps? Anything else I missed?
I think so. I think we just have to say, hopefully, everyone has good fortune returning to flying and the weather will be all right.
Oh yeah, I tell you, I just can't wait to go flying next week. I mean, we got a meeting next Wednesday morning, I think. So hopefully that will be the fog will burn off, and then you can go for a bit of a flight in the afternoon. That'd be a result, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
fantastic. Okay, everybody, thank you very much. Good to be with you tonight. Bye.
Take care, everyone. Bye. Cheers. Bye bye.